Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Babel on Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph of Masechta Shabbos, Daf 121. Pretty interesting Daf today, friends. Pretty interesting Daf. Well, first we have to finish off from yesterday, just the conclusion of that machlokas between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi regarding grama when it comes to erasing the name of God when it is written upon your flesh and you're going to the mikvah. We have to finish that up. That shouldn't take too long. Then we move on to a new Mishnah, and it's an interesting topic, the topic of Amira lenokhri. What are you, if you would like to instruct a Gentile to do a malacha for you on Shabbos, can you do it? Can you not do it? How can you do it? Interesting, right? Right. Okay. Now, can children... We're going to talk a little bit about can you have children do malacha for you? Also interesting, right? Right. So now, and then we get into a new Mishnah, and sort of a large discussion from that Mishnah is going to be about, can you kill like dangerous little things like scorpions, snakes, wasps? Can you do that? Friends, let's jump in. Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, 3 lines into the page. However, before we start with those 3 lines into the page, let us remember what we are talking about, because we are smack in the middle of a little bit of a complex argument, but there just wasn't really a great place for me to stop otherwise yesterday, because there was quite a bit of work to do for this first part today, even though we should be able to do it pretty quickly. So remember, for now, at this point, we're basically discussing the machlokas between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi when it comes to, can a person go into a mikvah if he has the name of God written on his flesh? Now, the problem would be that to go to the mikvah, you have to take off all of your clothing. Now, it says, V'lo yiroi bicha ervas davar, right? That you can't, and we learn from that you cannot stand in front of the name of God naked. And if you have the name of God written on your flesh and you have to take off all of your clothing, well, memela, you'll be standing in front of the name of God naked. So the Chachamim's suggestion was, well, why don't you just cover the name of God with some kind of a reed? To which the Gemara says, yeah, that's a great idea. How come Rabbi Yossi says that you don't need that? Rabbi Yossi says, what do you mean? I think that's a great idea as well. If you have a reed, use it. The machlokas between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi, though, is when you don't have a reed available to cover up the name of God. So what do? According to the Chachamim, you go get one. But what if that means that what if he doesn't find one for the rest of the day, and he's not gonna go to the mikveh today? He'll have to go to the mikveh tomorrow, and he'll miss out on tvila bizmana, on going to the mikveh at its proper time. The Chachamim say, don't worry about tvila bizmana. Go find a reed. However, Rabbi Yossi says, no, go to the mikveh now and cover it up, just cover up the name of God with your arm, with your hand, and don't bother chasing after finding a reed, because what's more important is that you go to the mikveh on time. So just go to the mikveh now, cover the name of God with your hand, and that will be enough. So that is the latest in that machlokas, which is essentially, at this point, a machlokas between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi about, do you need to go to the mikvah on time, bizmana, or not? Rabbi Yossi says yes, the Chachamim say no, to which the Gemara asks on the 3rd line of Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, V'savar Rabbi Yossi tvila bizmana mitzvah? Does Rabbi Yossi really hold that there is a mitzvah to go to the mikvah at its proper time, on its proper day? V'atanya, but we learn in a brisa. Friends, this brisa is in the context of Yom Kippur, about, do you go to the mikvah on Yom Kippur? So we actually this had actually come up the other day, right? About, we said, well, if you go to the mikvah on Shabbos, then you can go to the mikvah on Yom Kippur. Seder. But this Mishnah, or this Brisa is saying over here, Hazav ve'azava, ha'mitzorav ha'mitzoras, bo'el nida, utmei meis, tvilasan bayom. So, a zav and a zava, so of course they each need to have 7 days without seeing any ziva, and then on day 7 they go to the mikvah. Hamitzor v'amitzoras, also, right, on the 7th day of their purification process, they also go to the mikveh. Boel nida, a man who sleeps with a nida, so he becomes tamei for 7 days. So on his day 7, utmei meis, and also, of course, somebody who touched a dead body or was in an oel meis, whatever it is, he contracted tumas hameis. So he also needs to go to the mikveh on day 7. So in all of these cases, if day 7 is Yom Kippur, well, he can go to the mikveh on Yom Kippur. Nida violedes, tvilasam balayla. And a nida, or a woman after she gives birth, is this talking about 2 weeks after she gives birth, or well, it depends on a boy or a girl, or is this talking about like the end of the 40 or 80 days respectively? I suspect it's talking about the end of the week or 2 weeks, but I don't exactly remember. I think, no, I think it's talking about the end of the week or the 2 weeks, meaning a week for a boy, 2 weeks for a girl. So they go to the mikveh at night, right? So if day 7 was Erev Yom Kippur, so they would go to the mikveh that night on Yom Kippur. Okay. Balkari, what about a man who has seen sperm? Tovel v'holech kol hayom kulo, he can go to the mikveh on Yom Kippur. Okay. Rabbi Yossi Omer, min aminchu l'mayla, ein tzarich litbo. Or really, so there's a different case that says ein yachol litbo. Whereas, now listen up friends, this is the main thing. That Rabbi Yossi says, however, from mincha on, a balkari should not go to the mikveh. Remember, a balkari, the reason why a balkari needs to go to the mikveh, as we learned in Masechta Brachos, is for divrei Torah. And therefore, as long as he's not going to be learning Torah, so then he doesn't have to go to the mikveh. So what we're asking is, well, what if he's already daven mincha on Yom Kippur? So really, he's not going to need to go to the, the next, he's only going to have to go to the mikveh before the next time he, let's say, davens, which is going to be Ma'ariv. So Rabbi Yossi's suggestion is, look, there really isn't any need to go to the mikveh right now on Yom Kippur, because as long as he just goes to the mikveh before the next time he davens, that's fine. So therefore, whereas the Tanna Kama says, no, he can go to the mikveh at any point during the day, Rabbi Yossi says, look, if it's already after mincha, meaning if it's before mincha, well, obviously he should go to the mikveh, because in order for him to be able to daven mincha, he's going to have to go to the mikveh, right? The assumption is that for davening also, he would have to go to the mikveh. However, if it's after mincha, so Rabbi Yossi says, look, there aren't really any prayers that he needs to have been mikvah'd already before those prayers. Next thing coming up is Mariv. Rashi mentions Ne'ilah, but he says you can also do that at night, at least according to this opinion. So, according to Rabbi Yossi, he says, look, just wait until after Yom Kippur, go to the mikveh then, and then you could have Mariv. No, what about Tevilah Bizmana? What about going to the mikveh on time? We see Rabbi Yossi doesn't seem to be so concerned about making sure that he goes to the mikveh on that day. So, one second. On the one hand, friends, we're saying that Rabbi Yossi's opinion is that he doesn't go and find a reed to cover up the name of God when he goes to the mikveh, because it's more important that he goes to the mikveh on that day than that he finds a reed. However, when it comes to Yom Kippur, Rabbi Yossi seems to be saying that a balkari should just wait till after Yom Kippur and just go to the mikveh before he davens Ma'ariv. What happened to Tevilah Bizmana? What do we do? What do you guys think we do? We read on. Hahi Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda hi the Amar Daya Tevilah B'achrona. That opinion regarding Yom Kippur that says just go to the mikveh after Yom Kippur, that's not Rabbi Yossi. That's Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. I actually looked this up on Janine's chart. So apparently Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, the Tana Rabbi Yehuda, had a son Rabbi Yossi, and this is him, Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. So he holds that you don't have to be so concerned about Tevilah Bizmana, and that's why he says that you go to the mikveh after Yom Kippur before Ma'ariv. So he's actually the Amr Daya Tevilah B'achrona. It's a Gemara in Nida. Rashi talks about it. It's actually a complicated Gemara. As Rashi was talking about it, I was remembering that Gemara, or remembering that it was complicated, not so much remembering how to understand it. That would be more complicated. But yeah, it was a whole complicated situation. Remember on Daf Pei Vav, when we were trying to calculate like the three, like Isha Poletes Shich Vazera, and depending is it 6 onos or all sorts of stuff like that. And I said that like Masechta Nida, that's like what's complicated about it is all these calculations about different possibilities. So this was one of those. It was like one of these things of like, a woman gave birth and she doesn't remember when she gave birth or what day it was. We have to calculate all the possibilities of when she might have to go to the mikvah, because maybe she was also a zav, maybe she was yoledes bizov, maybe she was a zava and also a nida, and then, but also yoledes. It was like all these all these questions of like, for the ziva, she would go to the mikvah during the day, but for the Yoledes, she would go to the mikveh at night. So maybe over the course of like 3 weeks, she would have to go to the mikveh every day and every night. All that whole cheshbon. But over there, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi says, no, don't worry about going to the mikveh every day and every night. Rather, die at Tefillah B'achrona, just go to the mikveh at the end. So we see that because the reason why she'd have to go to the mikveh every day and every night is because we have to make sure that just in case today is the end of her ziva, or tonight is the end of her Yoledes, we have to make sure that she goes to the mikveh because Tefillah B'zman mitzvah. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi says, look, just go to the mikveh at the end when you know that for sure it's all over, because tefillah bizmana is not so important. Just make sure that you get to the mikveh once you're certain that you are done with whatever context you're in. So Rabbi Yossi's opinion is that tefillah bizmana mitzvah. Rabbi Yehuda's opinion is that tefillah bizmana is not a mitzvah. Friends, we're moving on. Lenokhri sheba lechabos ein omrim lo kabeh ve'al tichbe mipnei she'ein shvisaso alehen. Okay. Now, if you have a Gentile who would like to put out a fire for you, your house is on fire, a Gentile comes and he's going to go put out your fire. Do you have to say, stop? Let the house burn. Do you have to say that? So, ein omrim lo kabeh ve'al tichbe. So, we don't say to him, either one. On the one hand, we don't say to him, hey, my house is on fire, can you put it out for me? We don't say that. But at the same time, we also don't say, hey, stop, don't put out the fire, let it burn. We don't say that either, right? Whatever he does on his own volition is fine. Because it's not my responsibility to make sure that he keeps Shabbos. After all, he doesn't have to keep Shabbos. So we don't tell him, please extinguish for me. But at the same time, we also don't stop him if he extinguishes on his own. Aval katan. What about a minor, meaning a Jewish child? Shabbat lechabos, who wants to extinguish a fire, ein shomen lo. We don't listen to him, which is an interesting way of saying it. I mean, if I understand the way I understand it, it means we don't let him. Because it is our responsibility to make sure that he keeps Shabbos, that this little guy keeps Shabbos. Even though he doesn't have a chiyuv to keep Shabbos, but it's nonetheless our responsibility to make sure that he keeps Shabbos, and the Gemara is going to understand this a little bit better. Okay? Amr Reb Ami, says the Gemara, that Reb Ami says, B'dleika itiru lomar, if there's a fire, somebody's house is burning down, they did allow a person to say, Kol mechabe eino mafsid. If anybody puts out this fire, then he's not going to lose out. And I'm getting the feeling that what this means is that like you can kind of like alluding at the fact that there might be some financial gain for you. Meaning, oh wow, sounds like maybe the neighbor's windows they put some coconut oil on the windows to quiet them down, and it worked for a while, right? It's been a few months, I think. Oh gosh, have I really been in this place for a few months? Oh, I gotta get out of here. So, some guy I saw when I woke up this morning, another friend of mine sent me a message to see if I'm in Israel, which I am. I'm wondering if maybe his apartment sublet is available. Maybe I'll do that. And then just to switch things up a little bit. But guys, don't tell my friend Jeff that I said this, because I don't want him to think that I'm looking to ditch him, alright? This is going to be our little secret, okay? Don't tell Jeff, alright? Appreciate that. Anyways, what does it have to do with the Gemara? It doesn't. It has to do with my neighbors and their windows. Amar Rabbi Ami, says Rabbi Ami, B'dleika itiru. So, right, exactly. Exactly. So it sounds like, basically, it sounds to me like you can kind of imply financial gain, right? And we're not talking about Jews. So meaning, if you have a Yid and his house is burning down and there is a Gentile standing next to him, it sounds like you would be able to say, like, by the way, if somebody wants to put out this fire, well, they won't lose. And I think the implication meaning that, like, there's a good chance that I'll pay you out of appreciation for helping me out. Fine. So if somebody's house is burning, so Itiru Lomar, they permitted him to say Kol Mechabe Eino Mafsid, that somebody who extinguishes is not going to lose out. So Nema Misayele. So let's say that we can bring a support for Rabbi Ami from our Mishnah. How come? Because our Mishnah says Lenokhri sheba lechabos ein omrim lo kabe ve'al tichbe. So let's say that our Mishnah supports Rabbi Ami because our Mishnah says Lenokhri sheba lechabos. If a Gentile comes to put out the fire that's burning in a Jew's house, in omrim lo kabe, so we don't tell him, hey, please put out the fire, but at the same time, ve'al tichbe, we don't say to him, don't put out the fire. We just let things happen. Because it's not our responsibility to make sure that he keeps Shabbos since he's not Jewish. So now the Gemara wants to hear, here's the implication, here's the diuk. Kabeh hu dilo amrina le. So we don't tell him explicitly extinguish the flame. Yeah, that we don't do. However, but you would be allowed to say the following, which is, hey, if you put out this fire, you won't lose out. So I'm not telling him to extinguish, but I am sort of implying that, if he wants to go for it, he can go for it. But the Gemara says, however, Ema Seifa, but that's not really a good proof, because if I read the very next part of the Mishnah, Al Techa Belo Amrinan Le, that at the same time, we don't have to tell him, don't put it out, right? Meaning, if he's going to put out the fire, we don't have to stop him, but at the same time, we also are unable to say, to hint to him like, hey, if you put it out, we won't stop you. No, if he does it on his own, we don't have to stop him, but we wouldn't be able to say anything, right? So from the Reisha, it says, on the one hand, it says, we don't say to him, extinguish it, which implies that, but maybe we could say to him, like, by the way, if you go to do it, you won't lose out. But on the other hand, from the Sefer, which says that if he does it on his own, we don't stop him, but that implies, but you would not, though, be able to say, hey, to hint to him in such a way. So rather from our Mishnah, you can't actually, learn out something for Rabbi Ami's position, because from the Reisha, it would imply that it would be a support for Rabbi Ami, but from the Seifa, it would not be a support from Rabbi Ami, so therefore you can't really use it as a support for him. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Ma'aseh v'nafla deleka b'chatzer shel Yosef ben Simai b'shichin. There was a story where a fire broke out in the courtyard of Yosef ben Simai, and he lived in Shichin, which is interesting because Shichin came up yesterday as well, which was this place where they made these earthenware pots that were earthenware vessels that were very strong. Anyway, so this Yosef ben Simai, he was the treasurer of the king. Very cool. So Tana Rabbanan Ma'aseh v'nafla deleka b'chatzer shel Yosef ben Simai. So there was a story that a fire broke out in the courtyard of Yosef ben Simai b'shichin. Uvo anshe gistera, and then the people who work for the king, these representatives of the king came. Anshe gistera shel Tzipori, from Tzipori lechabos, to put out the fire for him. Mipnei she'apatrapos shel melech hayir, because Yosef ben Simai was the treasurer for the king, so sort of the representatives of the king came to help him out and put out his fire. V'lo inichan, but he didn't let them. Mipnei kvod Shabbos, because it was Shabbos. V'naisa lo nes, and a miracle happened. V'yardu geshamim, and it rained. V'chibu, and they put out the fire. La'erev shigar l'chol echad me'en shtei slayin, and then on Motzai Shabbos he gave each of those people who came to put out the fire 2 slayin, v'la'farkus sheboyin chamishim, and the lieutenant that was there, the leader of them, he gave 50. Wow, he got 25 times as much as everybody else. Wow, it's good to be the farkus. Uchsheshamu chachamim b'davar. Now when the chachamim heard what happened? Basically, there was a yid who had a fire in his courtyard. Gentiles came to put it out, and he stopped them. So Amru, they said, Lo hayat tzarich l'chach. Yosef ben Simai did not need to stop them. Sharei shaninu, because we learned Nachri sheba lechabos ein omrim lo kabe v'al tchabe, that if a Gentile comes to extinguish a fire, we do not instruct him either way. We don't instruct him to put out the fire. We also don't instruct him to stop putting out the fire. We can allow them to do what they want, to extinguish the fire. So therefore, Yosef and Simai did not need to stop them, but thank God, everything worked out with the rain. Aval, so the Mishnah had said, however, a child, if he wants to extinguish a fire, we do not let him, because it is our responsibility to make sure that at least that we need to be teaching him about Shabbos, so we cannot allow him to put out the fire for us. Shmas Mina, says the Gemara, this we can learn from this. Katan ochel nevelos bezdin mitzuvin olav lafrisho. That this is a sugya, there's a kasha of, if you have a child who is eating non-kosher food, do we have, as a community, have a responsibility to stop him? Or do we say, he's a little kid, he doesn't have a chiyuv, he's not chayiv for anything, so he can eat whatever he wants, we don't have any responsibility to stop him. Well, from the fact that we're saying that we are not allowed to, that we cannot allow a child to extinguish a fire on Shabbos, it sounds like, well, we do have, as a community, have a responsibility to make sure that even children are keeping Shabbos, keeping kosher, things like that. So Shmas Mina, so we learn from here, Kai Nochel Nevelos, if you have a child who's eating non-kosher food, right, non-kosher meat, Bezdin Mitzuvin Olav Lafrisho, so Bezdin has a chiyuv to, take him away, to stop him from eating that meat. Just like we see over here, that we have responsibility to not allow the child to extinguish a fire. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, this is not a proof. How come? This is talking about when we say over here that a child, that we are not allowed, that we cannot allow a child to extinguish the fire. That is because you know why the child's doing it? It's because the child's doing it because he realizes it's the right thing to do. He realizes that his father wants him to extinguish this fire. So because he's doing it l'das aviv, because he's doing it only because this is what his father wants him to do, his father wants him to put out the fire, and that's why he's doing it, so we can't allow him to do it if it's, l'das aviv, for the desire, for what his father wants. However, if it would just be on his own, if he just sees a fire and he puts it out, we wouldn't have to stop him from putting it out. Okay? But one second. So, we said in our Mishnah that a Gentile we would not have to stop from extinguishing a fire, but a Jewish child we would have to stop. And we're saying that is talking about when the Jewish child is doing it because he knows that is what the father wants. Well, does that imply that if a non-Jew is only extinguishing the fire because he knows that that's what the Jew wants him to be doing, is to extinguish the fire, in that case, the non-Jew would be allowed to do that even though he knows that that's what the Jew wants him to do? But then, would that be allowed for a non-Jew to extinguish a fire for a Jew, even when he knows that he's doing it in the interest of the Jew? So the Gemara answers, no, the non-Jew, when he extinguishes the fire, even though he's doing it for this Jewish person to help him out, nonetheless, we still consider it as though this non-Jewish person is doing it for his own benefit. How come? What's his own benefit? So says Rashi, the last Rashi before the Mishnah, even if he knows that, obviously it's going to be benefiting the Jew, right? The Jew's house is burning down, he's saving the day for this Jew. But he's still doing it for his own, in whatever sense we consider it that he's doing it for his own interest, because he knows shelo yafsid, that he's not going to lose out, right? And I assume what that means is that he knows that the Jewish person, he's going to repay him for saving his house for him. So, even if on the surface of things, that's not why the non-Jew is saying that, but because is doing that. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But because that there is a factor here, which is that the Jew is probably going to, repay him for his kindness, so therefore we can consider it as though the non-Jew is acting out of his own volition, and therefore, when he goes to put out the fire, it would be acceptable. However, a child is only doing it, his child doesn't know about getting paid back and things like that. He's doing it because he wants to help out his father, and therefore, that is why we prevent him from doing so. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And that is why I wanted to say earlier that when Rabbi Ami says that Kol Mechabe Eino Mafsid, anybody who puts out a fire is not going to lose out. I think what it means is that, he'll get paid back financially or in some way, and that would nonetheless be acceptable. Says, or that's probably why it would be acceptable. Okay, it says the Mishnah, Kofen Kaira al Gabe Aner Bishvil Shalotechos Bakora. So the Mishnah says that you would be allowed to take some kind of earthenware, like bowl or something, and cover a candle with it, so that the flame from the candle should not catch on the beam that is above the candle. Okay? And you can cover up the excrement of a little kid. And you can cover up a scorpion so that the scorpion doesn't bite you. Amr Yehuda. Wow. So Rabbi Yehuda says that there was a story with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai in Arev, in a place called Arev. Basically, what happened in that story was that there was a scorpion, and a person Pashit killed the scorpion. Oh no, Rashi doesn't say killed. He says that he didn't kill it. He overturned a kli on a scorpion. So meaning it's basically trapping. So basically what happened was there was a story with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, and there was a fellow. Now this scorpion wasn't chasing after him to kill him, because if he wasn't, that's pikuach nefesh. Okay, keep that in mind throughout this Gemara, right? In the event that the scorpion is chasing after him to kill him, he would be allowed to kill the scorpion, because that is pikuach nefesh. We were talking about a situation where there was a scorpion, sure, but he wasn't necessarily, there was no indication that he was going to harm this fellow, and this fellow nonetheless took a kli and overturned it to trap the scorpion. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, Choshesheni lo mechatas. I suspect that this fellow might be chayiv a korban chatas. Now, was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai around during the time of the Beis HaMikdash? The Maaseh, the answer is yes. He was around right at the end over there, right? There's a story in Masechta Gittin over there that we learn on Tisha B'Av about the story with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai when he met, who did he meet over there? It wasn't Titus. I think it was, I don't remember. It was that guy who then became the Caesar. That was that whole story. Anyways, so he was like right around during the siege of the Beis HaMikdash. Yeah. What was that guy's name? Anybody know his name? It wasn't Titus. Titus came and he did some bad stuff. But there was Vespasian. I think Aspianus or something. Vespianus Caesar or something. Let's just say that, because that way I won't be thinking about it. But also, I think it's in the Gemara in Gittin on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph or something, or Nun Vav Amud Aleph, or neither one. Let's go on. Says the Gemara, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Rav Chanan bar Rava, Iklu Levei, Oven de Minishikya. Okay. So I don't know who this Rav Yehuda is. I don't think that this Rav Yehuda is Rav Yehuda. I really don't think that this Rav Yehuda is like Rav Yehuda, who was the student of Rav and Shmuel. I mean, I don't think he'd be, I don't know. He hangs out with Rav Huna. He hangs out with Rav Nachman. Who's Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Rav Chanan bar Rava? What was it, the son of Rava? I mean, Rava, Rav Yehuda. It doesn't, I don't think so. But maybe. I just assume it's a different Rav Yehuda. Anyways, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Rav Chanan bar Rava, Iklu Levei, Rabbi Levei, Oven de Minishikya. Okay? So, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, and Rav Chanan bar Rava visited they visited the house of Oven de Minishikya. Fine. Now, Rav Yehuda, Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Aisu Lehu Poryasa. So for Rav Yehuda and for Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, they brought out beds for them to sit on. However, the Rav Chanan bar Rava lo aisule, but they did not bring a bed for Rav Chanan bar Rava. And he was very insulted and he was very upset. Ashkiche masnile livrei. And Rav Chanan bar Rava, who didn't get a bed to sit on, found oven de minashika, and he was learning with his son. And he was teaching from our Mishnah that you can cover up the excrement of a child with some kind of earthenware vessel so that the child doesn't play with the excrement. Okay? Amrle oven shatya masni shtusa livnei. So, to which Rav Chanan bar Rava responded, Oven the idiot is teaching idiocy to his child. Ve'aloi atzma muchenes leklavim. And we right and Rav Chanan bar Rava, he says, why would you be teaching your son that you can take a earthenware vessel and cover the excrement? Why don't you just take the excrement out of the house and get rid of it? After all, it's not muktzah. Muchenes leklavim, you can give it to the dogs to eat. Yuck. Maybe you'll say that this excrement is nolad, right? It wasn't there yesterday, it was only there from today. So it wasn't there before Shabbos. So therefore it's nolad, and therefore it's muktzah, and therefore I can't give it to the dogs. But that's not true. We're learning a brayso, Nairos hamoshchin umayonos hanovin. If you have a river that is flowing, or if you have a spring that is, I don't know, what's the difference between moshech and noveh? I don't know, also kind of moving. Okay? So in terms of tchum Shabbos, right? Meaning, of course, on Shabbos, for something, I can only move things, or I can only walk 2,000 amos. But now if you have, so let's say I'm hanging out by a river on Shabbos, and I go and I take some water from the river. Now that water has been on the move since the beginning of Shabbos. Who knows how far away it was when Shabbos started? Likely it was further away than 2,000 amos. It was outside of the Tchum Shabbos, and nonetheless we say that it's not muktzah, that I could take water from the river, even though this water is coming from more than 2,000 amos away. I could take the water from the river, and I can, and I can interact with it. I can use it. It can go wherever I go. Right? Harein kiragle kol adam. They're like the legs of any person, meaning any person can go as far as he can walk with it. As far as he's allowed to walk with it, he can take these waters. Meaning, these waters are not muktzah. Why? Because it's expected. It's expected that these waters are coming. Therefore, it's expected that there's going to be excrement from this child. And therefore, even though it wasn't on the floor from yesterday, only got there today, but nonetheless, you would be able to feed it to the dogs. So why are you teaching your son that you take a vessel and you cover the excrement so that the child won't play with it? Why don't you just teach him that you can just take it outside and feed it to the dogs? Velehechi isnaye. So then, Oven de Minashikya, he said, well then, how should I teach this Mishnah? So, Rav Chanan bar Rava suggested, Ema al tsoa shel tarnegolim mipnei katan. Rather teach that you can cover up the excrement of chickens so that the child won't play with the excrement of the chickens. And because the excrement of the chickens will not be eaten by the dogs, so therefore it's muktzah, and you don't want the child to play with it, so you cover it up. Yuck. Sorry, friends. I know this isn't necessarily. Let's go weiter. Okay. So fine, great, very good. But now the Gemara has kasha on Rav Chanan bar Rava v'tepukle davi graf shorei. But one second, even according to Rav Chanan bar Rava's explanation of the Mishnah, that it's talking about covering up chicken excrement. Well, what about graf shorei? Right? We know that you're allowed to take out garbage from your house because it's a bedpan. It's a graf shorei. That it's disgusting because it's ma'us. It's meus, I guess. So therefore, or maybe this is maus. This is probably maus. Anyways, so it's a graf shorei. You should be allowed. So why can't you take this chicken excrement out of your house? Graf shorei agav mana in iu gufelo. And if maybe you'll say, no, come on, you can't say it is a graf shorei. Graf shorei is basically a vessel, a kli that has excrement in it. And you can take out, and you can't take out you're not taking it out because of the excrement. That's not why you're allowed to take it out. You're allowed to take it out because of the kli. But over here, this excrement is just on the floor, and therefore you can't take the excrement out. So it's not like a graf shorei. But don't say that. But there was a certain mouse that was found in the spices of Rav Ashi. Ve'amarlu, and he said to them, Nikotu bitzutzise, take it out by its tail. Ve'afkua. Take it by its tail and take it out. So we see that there was a mouse, and the mouse wasn't in a vessel or anything, and they just picked up the mouse and took it out. So here also, you should be able to just take out, and the assumption is, I guess, because of graf shorei, that this mouse wasn't something that you want over there. So you should be able to take out this chicken excrement because it's graf shorei. How come you're only just covering it? So the Gemara answers ba'ashba. Well, it's because it's not in your house. It's in the garbage. It's in the garbage dump. Because it's in the garbage dump, so that is why it's not a graf shorei. Graf shorei is taking something disgusting out of your house. But here this is at the garbage dump. So you're just covering it so that the kids don't play with it. But what's a child doing in a garbage dump? So the Gemara answers b'chatzer. No, it's talking about where it's in your chatzer. It's in your courtyard. Because it's in your courtyard, that's why the child might play with it. But chatzer nami graf shorei. But then if it's in your chatzer, in your courtyard, then why don't we just go back to the graf shorei thing and just say, well, get it out of your courtyard. So ba'ashba sheb'chatzer. No, we're talking about a garbage heap that's in your courtyard. And because it's in your courtyard, the kids might play with it. However, it's not a graf shorei because it's in the garbage heap area. All right. Very good. Okay. And the Mishnah said, "Val akrav shelo tishach." You can cover up a scorpion so that it doesn't bite you. Amr Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi kol hamazikin ne'eragin b'Shabbos. Says Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi that anything damaging, like a scorpion or anything like that, a snake, right? These things that are dangerous, you can kill them on Shabbos. And the assumption right now is that it's talking about, even if it's not chasing after you, even if it's not an immediate threat, you can nonetheless kill these things on Shabbos. Masav Rav Yosef asks a question. 1 second, we have a brisa that says, Chamisha neragin b'Shabbos. There are only 5 things that can be killed on Shabbos. Ve'eluein, and these are them. Zvuv sheberetz Mitzrayim, an Egyptian fly, okay. V'tzira shebe Ninveh, some kind of a wasp from Ninveh. Ve'akrav shebe Chadyav, okay, some kind of a scorpion from Chadyav. V'nachash sheberetz Yisrael, an Israeli snake. V'chelev shota b'chamakom, and a foolish dog in any place. And then the Gemara continues, money. And who could possibly be the author of this brisa? Ilema Reb Yehuda. Well, meaning, again, it's not talking about where these things are chasing you. If these things are chasing you, it's pikuach nefesh and you can kill it. It's talking about where these things aren't chasing you. So now, if you kill this thing when it's not chasing you, so it's a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa mistama. Right? You're doing a malacha, which is netilas neshama, but you're not doing it because you gain anything directly from killing this thing. You're doing it so that it won't potentially hurt you. So it's a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. Now, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you're chayev. So Rabbi Yehuda would not say, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you would not be able to kill any of these things that we just listed if it's not an imminent threat. Elalav, Reb Shimon. Rather, it must be Reb Shimon who says that malacha she'ein tzricha legufa is pater, and we're saying that in these 5 examples, you would be, it would be acceptable. So Bahani Udashari, Achrine lo, and we're saying that these 5 examples you would be allowed to kill, but no more. So how could Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi say that kol ha-mazikin erakim b'Shabbos, you can kill all of the mazikin, when we seem to have a brisa that's saying that there's 5 mazikin that you can kill and no more. Rabbi Yirmiyah. Now Rabbi Yirmiyah says something very interesting. Uman neima landaha mitaretzta hi, dilma mishabeshta hi. So Rabbi Yirmiyah says, 1 second, I've never heard this brisa before. This brisa is not one of the brisas that were, taught by Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Oshaya, who compiled the Tosefta, which is very interesting. So Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Oshaya compiled the Tosefta, and Rashi says in the Dibur Maschu Uman Leimalan, 3 lines into the Rashi, V'chomasnisa delo mesnaya b'Tosefta d'Rabbi Chia v'Rabbi Oshaya ika l'sapuke b'mashbeshta v'lo mosvinon mina. That any brisa that is not included in the Tosefta, in the compilation of Rav Chia and Rav Oshaya, we have to be dubious if we could rely on it or not, which is interesting. Because certain of the brisas that we quote in the Gemara are come from Toseftas, but certain aren't. So what are those other ones? I don't know. But in any event, Rabbi Yirmiyah is saying, look, I can't find this brisa that Rav Yosef is quoting about these 5 things that you can kill. I haven't found that in the compilations of Rav Chia and Rabbi Oshaya. So how do we know that we can actually trust this thing? Maybe this brisa is inaccurate, and maybe we can trust Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and say that actually you can kill any of these dangerous things on Shabbos. Rav Yosef, so says Rav Yosef, who of course quoted the brisa, Ana masnina la, I taught it and I can vouch for the authenticity of this brisa. Ve'osivna la, and I'm the one who asked this question on Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Ve'ana mitaritzna la, and I am also going to answer this question on Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Biratzu achara v'divrei hakol, when Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says that you're allowed to kill any of these things that can kill you on Shabbos, that's when it's chasing after you, and it's pikuach nefesh, and everybody, both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, everyone agrees that you would be allowed to kill this, little guy if it's chasing after you to kill you. Fine. Okay, but if it's not chasing after you to kill you, it sounds like there's only those 5 examples that Rav Yosef quoted that you would be allowed to kill if it's not chasing you. Tana Kami Rava bar Rav Huna. A certain teacher of brisas taught in front of Rava bar Rav Huna. Okay, so this teacher claimed that somebody who kills snakes and scorpions on Shabbos, the spirit of the Hasidim is not. It's not within the spirit of the Hasidim. It's not a great thing to do. It's not an ideal activity to do, to kill snakes and scorpions on Shabbos. Okay. So now listen to what Rava bar Rav Huna responds to this teacher. Omerle, so Rava bar Rav Huna says to him, Ve'osan Chasidim, and these Chasidim, Ein ruach chachamim nocha mehem. Well, the spirit of the wise people is not among them. Meaning this teacher is saying, you know what, anybody who kills snakes and scorpions on Shabbos, he's not a chassid. He's not, on the highest level. To which Rava bar Rav Huna responds, these people who seem to be on the highest level are not necessarily the most intelligent people, because these are dangerous creatures, and you can kill them. And they can kill you, and therefore you can kill them. Now, Ufliga de Rav Huna, now Rava bar Rav Huna argues on his father Rav Huna, de Rav Huna chazi lahu gavra de kakatel zibura. Rav Huna saw a certain fellow who was killing a bee on Shabbos. Amrle shlimtinu lechulu. New little guy, have you killed all of them? What, so you just killed one bee? What does that do for you? Right? What are you wasting your time killing one bee? There's still 1,000 other bees, 1,000,000 1 trillion other bees that can still kill you. So what are you wasting your time for? So he seems to be saying that, so Rav Huna seems to be saying that you can't just kill these things on Shabbos. Okay. But remember, if they're chasing after you to kill you, so then it's a different story. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Nizdamnu lo nechashim ve'akravim b'Shabbos. If there were a whole bunch of snakes and scorpions next to him on Shabbos, sounds pretty unnerving. Hargan, so if you then kill all these snakes and scorpions, biyadush nizdamnu lo hargan. Well, then you can assume retroactively that all of these snakes and scorpions were there because they wanted to kill him. So it's a good thing that you killed them. Lo hargan, if you didn't kill them, well then biyadush nizdamnu lo hargo. Well, then you can still assume. I'm sorry. One second. I'm sorry. No. I messed that up. I messed that on. Rewind. Start over. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. If there are a whole bunch of snakes and scorpions around them on Shabbos, Horgan, if you killed all them, so if you kill all these snakes and scorpions, you can assume that you did what you were supposed to do. All these snakes and scorpions were there so that you can kill them, because in the future they were going to kill and damage other people. So Hashem gathered them there for you to kill them. And as Rashi says, if I could find it, that v'gilgulu zchus ayidei zakai, right? There's a concept of megalgalin zchus ayidei zakai, and I think it's then v'chiyuv ayidei chayev or something like that, that we give the merit of good deeds to people who deserve to have the merit of good deeds. So therefore, if all these snakes and scorpions were surrounding him on Shabbos and he killed all of them, so it's, God wanted to give him the zchus of saving lives that would have been damaged in the future by these reptiles, I guess. Lo horgan, but what if he didn't kill all of them and he left them? So biyadush and izdamnu lo hargo, well then he can assume that God had really sent them there to kill him, v'nais lo neis min hashamayim, but a miracle had happened. Okay? Amar Ula, now this is important, Amar Ula v'yitem Rabbi Bar Chana Amar Reb Yochanan b'ni shofen bo. Now when we talk about killing these snakes and we say that, kol hakavod, pat on the back, right, megaglin zchus ayidei chayev, that is only if they're hissing at him. And I think the point being that they were going to kill him. Right? So because they were going to kill him, so therefore he's allowed to kill them, was pikuach nefesh. But if they were just hanging out, well, I have to, it's certainly not clear that you'd be able to kill them. Interesting. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana, says Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana, Pam achas nafal echad bebeis hamedrash. One time, I guess like a scorpion fell into the Beis HaMedrash. V'amad nivasi echad, and one Nabatean got up, v'hargo, and terminated this scorpion. Amar Rebbe, pagabo kayotsebo. So Rebbe said this sort of esoteric statement of, I guess, this scorpion was stricken by somebody who is like it. So now the Gemara says, Ibailu pagabo kayotsebo deshapi avid olo. What is Rebbe saying when he says that this scorpion got stricken by somebody like it? Is somebody like it, kilu, a bad thing? Like, he deserves to be killed just like this scorpion was killed? Or does it mean that that pagabo kayotsebo, that he basically he killed this scorpion, because if he wouldn't have killed the scorpion, the scorpion would have killed him? Well, so let's try to figure out, did he do a good thing by killing the scorpion or not? Tashma coming here. Rabbi Abba Bred, Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Reb Zera, Abu Yasve, Akila de Rabbi Yanai. So Rabbi Abba, the son of Rabbi Chia bar Abba, and Reb Zera were on the porch of Rabbi Yanai. Sounds fun. Nafat milsami benayu, bo minem Rabbi Yanai. So now this thing came out from among them. They had a question, and they asked Rabbi Yanai, Ma'u larog nechashim v'akavim b'Shabbos. Can you kill snakes and scorpions on Shabbos? Even if they're not, obviously if they're attacking you, you can kill them, but even if they're not attacking you. Amrlu tzira ani horeg nachash v'akrav lo kol sheken. He says, I kill wasps. Obviously then, you can kill snakes and scorpions. So this would sound like, according to Rabbi Yanai, yeah, you can kill snakes and scorpions even if it's not, a mortal danger. So, but the Gemara says, well, dilma lefi tumo. No, maybe when Rabbi Yanai says you can kill them, it doesn't mean that you can actually just find snakes and scorpions to kill, or if you see them and they're not bothering you, you can just kill them. Maybe it just means that if you're walking down the path and you see a snake or a scorpion, do you have to davka go around them so that you don't kill them? He's saying no, you don't have to go out of your way not to kill them on Shabbos, since they have the potential to be deadly. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you'd be allowed to go out of your way to kill them. Dam Rav Yehuda says, Rav Yehuda, rog dorso lefitumo, that if there's spit on the ground, you could step on it on Shabbos, even though, it might come to somehow fill in like a hole in the ground, it's okay. If it's just while you're walking, it's fine. V'amar of Sheshes, nachash dorso lefitumo. It says of Sheshes, a snake, you don't have to go out of your way to go around it. You could step on it. Although I suspect if it was me, I probably would go out of my way to go around it, but not because I'm such a gentle soul. Actually, perhaps I might even walk the other way. V'amar of Katina, instead of Katina, akrav dorso lefitumo. If you have a scorpion, so also you can just kind of keep on walking, and if you step on it, you step on it. Abba bar Marta, dava Abba bar Minyomi, Ava maske bedverish gelusa zuze, oy va'avoy. So Abba bar Marta, who's also known as Abba bar Minyomi, he owed money to the Reish Gelusa. That does not sound good. Aisyu kamitzayrele. They brought him in, and they were giving him a rough time. Have a shdi roka. Now, there was there was some spit on the floor. Amlu Reish Gelusa aisu mana schifu ilave. So the Reish Gelusa suggested, bring a vessel and cover up this spit, because it was Shabbos. So they couldn't, rub it out, but just cover it up. Amrlu, so this Abba bar Minyomi, he said to them, Lo tzrichisu, you don't need to get a kli. Achi Amr Rav Yehuda, rog darsu lefitumo. Rav Yehuda said that you can just kind of rub out spit with your foot, while you're walking, and it's fine. You don't have to worry about anybody, covering, filling in holes or anything. Amrlu tzur b'merabananu shavku, to which Reish Gelusa said, I understand. Clearly you are a Torah scholar. All right, friends, let's leave him alone. All right, everybody, that was daf 121. It was cool, right? Right. So basically we had like two interesting, in my opinion at least, but I know that my opinion is your opinion. No, I don't know that. Two Mishnayos. Amira, lenokhri. The first one, at the beginning, of course, we finished the machlokas of the discussion about tefillah b'zman a mitzvah or not. We said according to Rabbi Yossi, it's not a mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, it is the opposite. According to Rabbi Yossi, it is a mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a mitzvah. Fine. Now, Amira lenokhri. So the Mishnah says that you would not be allowed to say to a non-Jew, hey, can you put out this fire for me? That you cannot do. But at the same time, if he goes to extinguish the fire, you don't have to tell him to stop. Right? And Rabbi Ami said that if there's a fire, you can kind of say, look, anybody who puts out this fire will not lose. I think implying that, you can make it kind of the implication like if you put out this fire, you will get a reward, and that seems to be acceptable as well. If a child goes to extinguish a fire, so if he's just extinguishing his fire on his own, so there's no implication that would necessarily be a problem. However, if he's extinguishing the fire because he understands that his father wants him to extinguish the fire, well then that is a problem, because we have the responsibility to make sure that that he's keeping Shabbos. Obviously he doesn't have to keep Shabbos to the extent that a gadol has to, but we can't just allow him to put out a fire for us. That, I guess, out of chinuch, out of education. Next, we talked about killing dangerous things like snakes and scorpions. So the idea seems to be that, well, if it's chasing you to kill you, so then it's pikuach nefesh, and of course you can kill the snake or the scorpion. If it is not chasing you, well then there were those 5 examples that Rav Yosef taught, that those would be mutar to kill, but it sounds like otherwise you would not be. There was that interesting story about this teacher, or not story, but anecdote about this teacher who taught in front of Rav Huna, that it's not really a very Hasidic, it wouldn't be the way of the Hasidim to kill these things on Shabbos, to which he says it wouldn't really be the way of the smart people to not kill them on Shabbos. To which Rav Huna said an anecdote sort of where it would imply that you wouldn't be able to kill them, so it's definitely not clear that you would. But we had all these discussions at the end that if it's just lefi tumo, that if while you're just walking, there's a snake or a scorpion or something in your way, you can step on it and that would be okay. Friends, I hope you enjoyed Daf Kuf Chaf Aleph of Masechta Shabbos. Have a great, great, great day or night or whatever.